Let's turn out the right foot and slide the hand down. Now remember, if your back is out, you just put your elbow to your knee. So left hand to the ceiling, reach that arm over your head. Feel that stretch all the way down into your waist, into your rib cage. Nice and gentle. Drop your left hand onto the floor, go onto your tippy toes, and then twist the right arm to the ceiling. So you turn in the complete opposite direction. Nice big rotation for that back. Do the same to your other side. Excellent. So go all the way over to the left foot. So bending your left knee. Take your right arm up as high up to the ceiling as you can. Nice big stretch. Yes. Slowly pull the arm over your head so you're feeling the rib cage stretching out. Good. Drop onto the right hand. Pivot and go to the other side. Take that left hand to the ceiling. Now sink your hips towards the floor as you do so. Good. And bring it back to center. So facing towards me, I want you to drop your back knee down onto the ground. You're going to bend the elbows to get deeper into that stretch, or put your elbows on the floor. Get as low as you can into that stretch and just rock your hips from side to side to open up that lower back area. Nice and gentle. Good. Changing those legs, just swap the legs. Exact same thing, drop the knee into the floor, bend the elbows, or just wiggle from side to side. Get as deep as you feel comfortable into that little stretch. Good. And then bring it back into center. Two legs nice and wide. Come down to the floor. Put your left hand onto the ground and twist that right arm up to the ceiling. See if you can turn your head to look up towards that ceiling. And change those arms. Rotate from that lower back. Feel how tight and stiff that lower back gets. That all comes from the hips and the legs. Drop the hands onto the floor. Walk your feet in, heels, toes. And roll that spine back up, nice and gentle. Now, 2 feet together, 2 ankles touching, chin to your chest, slide your hands onto your legs, come down slowly into that stretch, looking at your kneecaps, bending out that right leg and focus on that left hamstring. Feel that stretch up to the back of the hamstring. And then straighten that right leg, bend your left leg and feel the pull, how it affects that lower back. Good. Straighten out those legs, roll back up, squeeze your thigh muscles as you roll back up, roll your shoulders back, bring your heels together, toes out, curl down again, hands onto your thighs, chin to your chest as you roll down into that stretch, bending the right leg and keeping that left leg straight. And then straighten that right leg, bend your left leg, and check all along your hips and hamstrings. As you straighten out those legs, squeeze those inner thighs together, roll back, up, shoulders back, and bring your toes in, heels out. Curl down again, so pull the belly button in, slide your hands down slowly into that stretch. And again, bend the right leg, focus on that left hamstring all the way up into your hip, all the way into that low back. Straighten out that right leg, bend your left leg, and just let it open, let it stretch. And then straighten out both legs, roll that spine back up, and then sit down. Now grab your, if you have a long band, actually, Catherine, we'll get you started with the long band. That'll be lovely. We'll open up the hamstrings and we'll do our roll-ups combined. So take a long band and wrap it over your right foot, 2 legs out nice and straight. Now, when you go forward, you're folding from the hips. I want you to grab the ends of your band because you have a nice long band. Bring your head towards your knees and try press those arms back. So you're activating those little arms and shoulders. And then you inhale, lift this right leg up. So lift it with those arms. Make sure there's nothing behind you. Exhale, roll down slow as you can. Now feel every single vertebrae touch the ground as you go all the way back. And you can just pull to stretch out the hamstrings. Feel the back of the thighs opening. Inhale, chin to your chest. Exhale. Now kick that leg down. Let the band pull you back up. That's it. Come forward, head down towards your knees. Now you can just pull on the band if you want to, or if you're feeling extra brave, press the arms back. It's obviously harder pressing those arms back. Inhale, sit nice and tall. Lift that leg up. We're going to do 2 with the long bands. We're going to roll down nice and slowly all the way back. And just softening that lower back into the ground as you stretch those hamstrings. Chin to the chest. Let's roll back up. Exhale. Nice and slow. Good. Head to your knees. Press those arms back. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Now let's do the short version. Take half grip down along your band. So now it's short. So now you get to use biceps. So lift that leg up, lift it as high as you can to make it more of a challenge for the belly button. Okay, so round your back, draw your tummy muscles in and roll down slow as you can. And then when you stretch here, see if you can get your elbows to the floor. It's a really good hamstring opener. So take a deep breath in. Exhale, chin to your chest, roll back up. And you're keeping the elbows bent. So the band is pulling you up, but you're pulling the abdominals in. Head to your knee and just pull those elbows back past your ribs. Let's do 2 more. So inhale, lift that leg up, use those arms. Exhale, come down as slow as you can. So you can almost count the vertebrae touching the ground one at a time. Get your elbows to the ground, stretch the hamstrings. Inhale. Exhale, chin to your chest. Roll up slowly, use those muscles, use the band, but don't rely on it. Head to your knees, stretch. We're going to do it 1 more time. Sit up nice and tall. Inhale, lift that leg up. Now, as you exhale, curl down slow as you can. Drop down to the floor. Now stay here, put your elbows on the ground and hold that leg up there nice and high. Now make sure you have enough support on that band so you can grab higher if you want to, but sway your leg from side to side and just start to increase that range as you start to warm up those hamstrings. See if you can go all the way to the right. Can you swing all the way to the left? How far can you go on the right? How far can you go on the left? You're just loosening up and opening up that hip joint. Good, nice and gentle. Let's do 4 side to side. Feel those hamstrings stretching for 3. Last 2. Last 1. Now I want you to bring it over to the left-hand side. So bring it over towards the couch. So you're kind of pointing off at an angle there. Hold it. Good. So I'm going to turn sideways. Hold that position and keep your right elbow on the floor. So it's really going to support that leg and just feel that pull. It's through the side of your calf, side of your knee, all the way down to the side of your thigh, side of your hip. It's an IT band stretch. It's really good for the side of your knee especially. Now, wiggle your foot. So imagine your foot's like a hand. Just wiggle it. And it just softens up the fascia in your calves, knees, hamstrings, all the way to that hip. Now, bend the knee towards your chest. So this is going to be a nice one for those outer hips. So you bend the knee to the chest, but you're taking the 2 ends of that band and pull the band towards your left shoulder. So grab it with 2 hands and pull it towards your left shoulder. Yes, this is your piriformis stretch. This is your sciatic nerve stretch. It's brilliant. With that foot, keep holding onto the band, but with your foot, kick that leg. Just tiny movements up and down. And it's really good for that hip. It just softens up that hip joint, gets a bit of mobility back into it. Good. Do 4, 3, 2, 1, and then release. Unhook that right foot. Let's do the same to the left side of your body. So we're going to open up the left side now. So hook your left foot in. Now we'll go long bands first. We'll do 2 of the long bands. Remember, it's slightly harder with the long band. Straighten out the right leg, straighten out the left leg. Good. Now try do a roll up from here. So chin to the chest. Inhale. As you exhale, push that foot down. See how much harder it is to do it on the left-hand side because the leg is not as long. It's not as strong. See if you can bring your head towards your knees. Can you press the arms back just to activate those triceps for a second? Inhale, sit tall. Lift that leg up. Use your shoulders, back of the shoulders, top of the shoulders. Exhale, roll down. Use the stomach muscles. Don't rely on that band to drop you to that mat because you'll just collapse. Pull, get the shoulders to work just one more time. Inhale. Exhale, chin to your chest, roll up. And you can push your foot down. Let the band pull you back up, but just make sure you're pulling in here on your belly button. Press those arms back. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Inhale, sit nice and tall. Exhale, roll down. Curl off that tailbone, round your back into the floor. Stretch those hamstrings. Use your shoulders to stretch those hamstrings. Good. Last time, let's roll back up with the long arms or long band. Roll back up. Now, from here, take a halfway grip along your band and get those elbows to tuck in towards your rib cage. So it's a tighter stretch as well. So let's inhale. Use the biceps. Exhale, roll down. Now pull down the tummy muscles as you roll down. Don't let the band do all the work. Lie back on the floor. Get your elbows to the ground and stretch your hamstrings. Feel that pull to the back of the knees, back of the calves, back of the hamstrings. Inhale. Exhale, roll back up, chin to your chest. As you watch the belly button as you're rolling back up, do you push it out or can you pull the belly button in the whole time? Drop your head towards your knees, stretch and pull. Feel the hamstrings opening. Don't force it. Inhale, lift that leg up. Exhale, roll down. All the way to the mat. It's really good. The exhale is going to pull the belly button in better. Inhale here, stretch the hamstrings. Exhale all the way back up. Hold those two muscles in. You might be able to do this some weeks, and some weeks it's a struggle to roll up. It's just the tightness in your lower back. That's all it is. It's nothing to do with the tummy muscles. 2 more for me. So inhale, lift that leg. Keep those arms active. Exhale, pull the belly button in. Soften your lower back into that mat. It's a really good way to get the back to move without straining it. Stretch the hamstrings. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, chin to the chest. Roll back up. And you're still using the stomach muscles, not just bands. Keep the spine curved as you go forward into that hamstring stretch. Pull, pull, pull. Last one, sit tall. Inhale, lift that leg. Exhale, now use the stomach muscles. Come down slow as you can through that spine. Yes, go all the way to the floor. Now stay here. Try get your elbows onto the ground. And you're looking at the foot, but you're going to sway that leg from side to side. And just feel along the back of the hamstrings. You can start small from side to side. And then when you get warmed up, increase the range. Maybe aim to touch the couch or in that direction. Yes. So you got to go all the way from one side to the other. Obviously, it's a little bit easier to go out to the left than it is over to the right because that's our IT band stretch. This is really good for hip mobility. It's going to loosen up all the fibers, the back of the hamstrings, take the pressure off the back of the pelvis and that lower back. Now let's do another 2, 1, and then swing it across your body to 45 degrees over to the right-hand side. Hold that stretch. So just hold there. Now stay in that position. So this is our IT band. Remember, it runs from the side of the calf, side of the knee, down to the side of the thigh. And you'll feel on your tightest area. Right now it's on my hip. It might be the side of your thigh. It could be the side of your knee. But just hold that position and then start to wiggle your foot. As you wiggle your foot, kind of send signals down to the fascia of your leg to soften up just a little bit better. Now bend your knee to the chest. Now put your 2 ends of the bands together. Grab the bands, pull it towards your right shoulder. This is the nicest stretch for your outer hip. And you're pulling in just the point where you feel the stretch. You keep your leg initially parallel, your shin parallel to the ceiling, and then you kick up and down. So you're moving that hip joint and you're kind of softening up the soft tissue. It's like you're stirring a bowl. That's it. Do 4, for 3, for 2, for 1, and then release that leg onto the floor. Gently drop the bands. Now again, we're going to roll like a ball. If your back is not in the mood for it, you can just stay here on the ground and do tiny tucks just like that, and softens the lower back. And then we're going to try roll like a ball. So if you're rolling like a ball, come up onto the tailbone, grab those ankles, make sure there's nothing behind again. Curl all the way to the shoulder blades and up onto the tailbone and balance. Don't let your feet touch the floor. So you're going to exhale as you roll back because it softens the rib cage. It deflates the lungs. Exhale. And then come up, inhale, fill up your lungs. Now, when you're rolling, check which side of the mat you kind of veer off to. Do you veer off to the right? Do you veer off to the left? I can see you coming off to the right there a little bit. That's just a tightness in the lower back, the right side. So it's twisting you off at an angle. So we're just trying to practice rolling in center so you activate each side of the back muscles each time. So concentrate on being in the center of that mat. Yes, do 4. It's a little bit harder when you're aware of where you're going. That's much better. For 3. Nice and gentle. 2 more. Just listen to the lower back. Nice and softly. Do 1 more. And then release for a second. Now, grab your foam roller. We're going to use that for our single leg stretch. Okay, so you're going to take your foam roller, lie back. That's all you're going to do. You lift your butt and put your butt on top of that foam roller. It's actually quite nice. It takes the pressure off that lower back. And all you do is take the legs up into tabletop. Now you'll position it in a place that's comfortable for yourself, but just somewhere at the back of the pelvis initially is fine. That gives you loads of support. So your hands can be on the floor or on the roller, whatever, if it's long enough. Take the legs to tabletop. That's it. So it's sitting right underneath the back of that hip. Now take the right leg and lengthen the right leg out as if you're trying to touch the floor. So go all the way down. Yes. Good. And then pull it back up. So this is a single leg stretch, but it's easier because it's on the foam roller. Same with the left leg. Lengthen the left leg. Go all the way down as if you can touch the floor. Good. Perfect. Pull back up. Do it again. So I'm watching how well your right heel touches the floor, how well your left heel touches the floor. It's not too bad, actually. Good. You've got good flexibility in hip flexors. So maybe your quads are just a small bit too tight. Yes. Keeping that leg as straight as you can. Do another 6 and just think about lengthening your heel towards the end of the mat, not just to the floor, lengthen to the end of that mat. 5, exhale. Scrape the toe down the wall, tip your heel to the floor. Yes. 4 more, inhale, exhale. So you're pulling in your stomach, even though you've got max support here, pull your muscles in and exhale. Put your hands on your stomach and check when you lower the heel, do you pull that belly button in? Do you support that lower back? If you're pushing out, it just means you're thickening your abdominal walls and it's just switching off the support for your back. So I want you to train the belly button to pull in. Just do 2 more for me. Lengthen the heel to the floor. And 1 more. Exhale. Good. Now we're going to stretch. This is the nice part. So put your 2 hands around your right knee. Pull in your right knee and lengthen the left leg back out as if you're trying to touch the floor again. Yes. That's it. Now keep pulling the right knee in as if you're trying to touch your stomach with that right kneecap. So pull in as deep as you can and feel the difference. It kind of pulls on that left hip flexor a bit more. Imagine your heel has an ankle weight on it and it's trying to pull you down to the mat. And just sit there into that stretch. Just breathe. Inhale. And exhale. Just think about your left leg is getting longer and longer and the heel is trying to touch the end of the mat now. So imagine the hip is just opening up. And now slowly change that leg. Pull in the left leg, grab that left knee, and then lengthen out that right leg. And you feel the difference between the right and the left side. So again, actively pull in that left knee. So you're trying to pull in, and it'll lift the right heel a little bit off that mat, and that's fine. Let it hover, let it open. Just breathe in through the nose, out the mouth. Good. Feel the hip, feel the difference between the right hip flexor and the left hip flexor. Imagine your heel has an ankle weight on it. It's sinking down to the floor, but you're also actively reaching to the end of the mat. Keep breathing for 4. Inhale, exhale for 3. Last 2. And last 1. Slowly drop both feet on the floor now. So the roller's still underneath your butt, but straighten the legs out if possible. See if you can straighten the legs out if it's okay in that lower back. And just kind of let your feet flop open because we don't naturally push the hips forward like this. So this is just nice to open up that lower back. With a roller, it's cool. You can actually kind of wiggle your butt from side to side. And if that's uncomfortable, check where it's uncomfortable. Is it along your spine? Is it your hips? Is it your sacrum? Is the back of the butt? That kind of area. And the wiggling is just telling your body where it's tight. It's also softening up that lower back just nicely. Good. And then slide your heel to your butt. Again, slide in. And then just lift your butt up and roll the roller down towards your heels, down underneath your feet this time. So walk the roller down underneath the soles of your feet. That's it, right underneath your feet. Good, good, good. Good. Now we're going to do shoulder bridge. This is to strengthen the back of the hips and knees, basically, okay? So you're going to need your hands in this one. It just fires up your hamstrings. You're going to inhale. As you exhale, tilt and push your lower back into the ground and do a shoulder bridge. Good. And you're just pushing. Feel the roller underneath your feet. Inhale. Exhale, curl back down. Rib cage first, lower back second. And your tailbone and butt is last to touch the floor. So you got to soften each vertebrae. So you can have your feet wider or narrower on that roller, but you're going to tilt, roll. So you're peeling the tailbone off the ground first, lower back second, rib cage last. And you've tried to squeeze your butt. So hold up there for a second, grab your backside and make sure your butt is solid as a rock. So your butt is fired up. And then just put your fingers on your lower back and feel how tight or how much you're using those lower back muscles. Now we're going to curl down and try to get the lower back to round into the floor. Nice and gentle, dropping the tailbone all the way back down onto that mat. Good. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Exhale, roll back up. I live next door to my primary school and the windows open above my head and all I can hear is the kids screaming, and I'm assuming you can hear them as well, but ignore them if you can. Inhale. As you exhale, curl down, rib cage, lower back, tailbone, softly drop it back down. Last one, inhale. Tuck your butt. Exhale, roll back up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those glutes. Hold it up there. Lift as high as you can. Inhale. Exhale, roll back down. So soften your ribs. Soften that lower back. Soften the tailbone. And then just straighten out the legs. Walk the roller right out so your legs are nice and straight. So this is actually a lovely position. Heels higher than your hips. Relaxes the hip flexors. And just switch off. Wiggle your feet in and out. And relaxes the hip flexors, relax that lower back as well. Now, we're going to keep this position and we're going to activate the glutes from here. So I'm going to put the roller just in a kind of comfortable position at the back of the heel. You can have it down or up. It's up to yourself. But I want you, the first one, I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to get you to lift your butt off the ground. Okay, so just lift the butt off the ground. And I want you to feel along your butt, your lower back, and check, put your hands underneath your butt. Is your butt fired up? Feel how tight the glutes are. And then see if you can creep your fingers underneath your lower back and compare that to how tight your back muscles are, because my back is way tighter than my glutes are at the moment. So drop the butt on the ground. And this is how we sequence. We use the butt muscles first, okay? This is good for walking. So first thing is turn your feet out like Charlie Chaplin. So turn your toes out left and right. Now, imagine you got loads of coins in your pocket and all the coins is spilled out onto the ground. I want you to try gather the money up with your bum cheeks. I want you to squeeze your butt cheeks together so you're gathering the money up, and then lift the money off the floor. Now hold that position. You should be engaging your glutes better. So grab your backside, check the tightness in the glutes. It should be increased a little bit more. Now the back muscles will still be tight, but it just means the glutes are now the bigger dominant muscle group. Now roll back down. So try it round your back towards the floor. It's harder. And then drop the butt, okay? So let's do it again. We're just going to keep the toes turned out like Charlie Chaplin, so it activates the butt first. Then we gather the money first, so we squeeze the butt before we lift. We have to squeeze first. We sequence the glutes, then lift the butt off the ground. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. That's it. Hold it. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then drop all the way back down onto the mat. We're going to do 4 more like that, just teaching the butt to fire first. It's really good for walking. So take a deep breath in. Start to squeeze the butt cheeks so you're gathering your money up. And then you exhale, lift the money off the floor. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Drop back down. So try not lift with the back muscles, lift the butt muscles. So 3 more. Inhale, squeeze the butt first. Exhale, then lift. Now don't go for height, just lift from your butt, not from those back muscles. 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop back down. Last 2. Take a deep breath in. Think about squeezing your butt cheeks. So turning those toes out. Squeeze first. Lift second. And don't lift with height. Just lift so the butt is strongest. Hold. 2, 3, 4. Drop back down. Last 1. Inhale. Exhale. Squeeze the butt cheeks together. Pick up the money, lift it off that mat and just hold. Don't go for height, just hold it. Stomach is nice and tight. So abs pulled in, hold for 4 more seconds, for 3, for 2, for 1, and release back down. Good. Now pull in the right knee. So grab the right knee and just pull it into your stomach. So we're just stretching that glute muscle. So your left leg is just sitting on top of that foam roller and you're pulling the knee in so that your thigh is trying to touch your stomach, and just let it open, let it release. Now slide your left hand down to your ankle. So left hand down to your ankle, grab it and just pull it across the body, just like that. So you're going to pull across. Yes, perfect. So now we're back into that piriformis stretch, and just let it open for a few seconds because that is part of the butt muscles. And feel that pull. I know this is harder because your arms are only a certain length. It is easier with bands. But it's a much deeper stretch. Just breathe for 4 and just kind of pull it more to that left hand side. Bring your whole leg over till you feel that outer hip. For 3, you can rock from side to side. Last 2. Last 1. Good. Now, what I'm going to get you to do is drop the right leg down slowly because it's been long. Now we're going to just drop it onto that roller and then pull in the left knee. Do it slow because your legs just go, oh, I've been stretched. I don't want to do anything. So pull in the left knee towards your stomach and stretching out the back of the left hamstring just a little bit, but definitely down into the glutes and into that low back muscle. And just pull it as tight as you can. Breathe in through the nose, out to that mouth. Now slide your right hand down. See if you can grab that ankle. Pull across the body. And you're pulling over towards that right hand side just enough to feel that outer hip, outer glute stretching. It'll be harder to do one leg. This is my short leg, so it's a little bit tougher. Just breathe for 4, And start to rock from side to side for 3. Feel that pull through your hip. Last 2. Last 1. Good. And then release, drop your foot onto the ground. Now, gently roll up onto all 4s for me. So I'm going to do a little bit of cat to camel to release that lower back. We're just going to move the roller out of the way for a second. You're into box position, just to soften that lower back. You're going to get your rib cage and just kind of push it up towards the ceiling. So imagine someone's lit a fire underneath your stomach. You got to lift your stomach away from the fire, tuck your chin into the bone of your chest, into that sternum, and hold that stretch. It's just lovely. Now stay here and push your rib cage over to the right hand side of the mat, and then push your rib cage over to the left hand side. Just feel your ribs opening up like an accordion file from side to side. So you're wiggling over to the right, over to the left. Good. Do 2 more. Nice and gentle. Feel the tightness along the ribs, lower back area. 1 more. Bring it back to center. Just kind of dip your rib cage down. So you're kind of looking forward. So you're letting your lower back kind of dip. Take a deep breath in. Exhale all the air out. Push the vertebrae up towards the ceiling. Get your vertebrae to stretch. Now really tuck your butt in as well. Now push the rib cage from side to side for 6. Nice and slow. 5. Keep your chin tucked up into your chest. For 4. Feel the rib cage stretching. For 3. Last 2, keep pushing your hips across as well. Last 1, bring it to center. 1 more set. Dip your ribs down. Look forward. Let your spine move, but don't bend those elbows. So take a deep breath in. Fill up your lungs. Empty all the air of your lungs. Exhale, round your vertebrae up. Push up as deep as you can to the ceiling. Hold that stretch. Then pop from side to side. Push your ribs and hips over for 6. 5. 4. That's it. For 3. 2. 1. And then sit back onto your heels. Now I'm going to use the foam roller. This is nice. Just getting the hands higher than those hips. So 2 hands on the foam roller. Have your wrists facing in towards each other. So your little fingers are kind of like down on that foam roller. But you're just going to drop your head down towards that mat. And just let your shoulders open into that little stretch. Good. And just breathe in through the nose. Out of the mouth. Nice and gentle. Now from here, we're going to roll the roller up along the forearm. So I'm going to push the roller forward. Stay in this low. Push as far forward as you feel comfortable. And you just go to the point where you won't be able to go any further, or else you're just going to collapse onto that mat. And then you sit your butt back to your heels. So you roll back. Excellent. All the way just above that wrist joint. Butts to heels. And then go forward again. So you're stretching your shoulder girdle now. So you go inhale as you go forward. Hold. Exhale as you come back. So you're moving the lungs, moving the rib cage as well. Do 2 more for me. So inhale, go forward and back. Exhale as you go back. So move it on your breath. 1 more time. Inhale. Stretching your shoulders. Check along your shoulders. My shoulders don't like this too much, but I know I have to do it. Exhale. Release back down. Good. Now, shrug out your shoulders. This is the nasty part now. This is where we get to the quads. Okay, so you've got 4 quads in each. Sorry, my speaker just decided to drop off. You have 4 quads in each leg, basically. They all affect your knee. So say if you've got the 4 muscles running down the front of your thigh and one of them is tight, it's going to pull on your knee joint off to one side. It's going to misalign everything. So it puts the pressure and the fluid on the knees. So what you're going to do is we're going to do both legs first on the foam roller. So you have it like this. You're on your forearms like a plank position. You start in the center of your thighs. Now you're going to use your arms. So this is going to be like a mini plank. You're going to feel this tomorrow, but it's going to be good for the knees. So you walk with your elbows and you roll the roller just to above the kneecap. You never cross that knee joint. And then you roll the roller back all the way to the tops of your thighs. So you're rolling up and down. And what you're doing, it's like tenderizing meat. You're actually softening the meat fibers, the quad fibers. And you go up and down till you find a sore muscle. And it might take a few goes because the top ones might be too sore. Mine are. It could be the ones underneath that could be a little bit more sore. And all you're doing is you're pushing and getting a massage through the muscles. You're pushing blood flow through the muscles. You're breaking down adhesions and tightness in the muscles that's affecting that knee joint. Good, nice and gentle. So go up to the point or down to the point where you feel a little bit more tension along the quads, and you stay there. You hold at that sore point, and then you do what's called a myofascial release. If possible, bring one heel to your butt and then the other. And you're stretching, you're forcing that muscle to stretch while it has pressure on it. So it breaks the adhesion, the sticking point between the muscle and the fascia of maybe the next muscle or the skin that's getting caught. Good. Now we're going to reduce it to a single leg. So all you do, I'm going to move my roller over a little bit so it looks like your one. You take one leg off the roller so it's on the floor. So you're concentrating on one center quad. We're working on the rectus femoris now. So same thing, go up and down, roll that roller all the way to the top of the thigh, and then roll it down all the way towards the knee. Now it's deeper because you've got more body weight on that roller. So you're going to feel it, but it's going to be really good. This is a deep tissue massage on the legs. You get to control the placement of the roller and the pressure of the roller. Up and down, find it. Good. Now, same thing, find your sore spot. Your muscles should not be sore. You should be able to roll in every inch of your body and not be sore, but we have a sore spot, and that's the body telling us that something's not working. Stay there and push into it, and then try do a myofascial release where you're bringing your heel to the butt. That's it. Now that's worse. You might want to get, that's it, a short range. Every single time I do this, my knee clicks. It's just a fascia has been bundled up for so many years, but this is really good for loosening up those thighs. Now, we're going to go slightly off to the side now, okay? So we're just going to twist slightly over because we're going to do this kind of this area of the quad, the outer thigh area. It's not IT band per se. So you're going to twist slightly to the right because you're on your left leg, and you're going to roll up and down. Now again, go to the very top of your hip. You can actually cross that hip joint because it goes up to a muscle in your thigh called the TFL. And then you're going to roll towards that knee. Now this might be sore on yourself. That's it. Yeah, so turn your foot inwards actually. See where your foot's kind of turned out. So turn your foot slightly in like that. Yes. So you're on the side of your thigh more so. Yes. Yes, you're kind of facing towards, I think it's your stove there. Up and down. And you found a sore spot, have you? Yes. That's the problem area. That's pulling on knees and hips and lower back. Stay on the sore area. And if you're brave enough, you can do a myofascial release. If not, just just sit there and bear it. That gets better the more you do this. If you do this for a whole week, it'll probably be better next week. So we're just going to sit and hold. I can't believe how sore I am. Breathe in through the nose, out to the mouth. That's it. And then slowly release off it for a second. Now give your shoulders a little shake, release for a second, because we're going to do a ductor, same leg, we're going to do a ductor. Now your inner thighs pull your legs inwards, pull your knees inwards. So this is one more for that same leg. So you're on the left leg still. And all you're going to do, I'm going to turn this way so you can see it. You have your roller to the side of your body, so it's parallel to the body. You're back on your elbows like this, and you put your inner thigh, the inside of your knee, on the roller, and the leg that you're on, you just push it out like that behind you. And you're literally putting your inner thigh on top of that roller. That's it. Perfect. That's it. Exactly it. Now, the same thing. This is nasty as hell. You never feel pain into your inner thigh, but this pulls right into the groin and right into that low back area. So you do the same thing. You use your elbows and you walk that roller all the way into your groin, all the way in. So I'm going to do opposite sides. So I'm doing the same as you. So you're rolling all the way into the groin area. This, you'll be surprised how sore your inner thighs actually get. So you roll all the way into the groin and roll it back out to find, oh, there's a sore spot. Find this sore area that you didn't think you had. You mightn't even have a trigger point there. I didn't think I had one, but I definitely do. Oh. And when you find your sore spot, you just lean into it. That's all it is. It's nasty while you're doing it, but it's going to be great long-term for your knees and your hips. Press into the sore spot. You can play around with moving your leg if you want to, but don't if it's too sore. Just do a few more seconds. 4, 3, 2. Oh, I'm surprised how bad that is. 1. And then release, push up onto your hands. Oh, all right, we got to do the other leg now. Aren't you glad you signed in this morning? Oh, your shoulder's going to be so sore tomorrow, but your leg's going to feel great. All right, so we're going to do the other leg. So I'm going to move my roller over. Now, same thing, you put one thigh onto it. So we're on the right leg now, onto those elbows, and your left knee is just chucked out to the side off that foam roller. Now, find the scar tissue, the tight muscles, the tight areas. Roll up and down. Now, you've got more body weight on it, so you'll feel it that little bit better. Plus, you've softened the top layer of muscles, so you start to get in to the next tissues underneath. Good. So go up and down, pause when you find the sore spot, and don't lift yourself off the roller. Accept the roller, accept the pain, and just let it breathe. Oh, that is so nasty. And if you're brave enough, you do myofascial release. It could be too painful. And you'd be surprised. You think, yeah, my right leg is going to be better because it's my stronger leg. It could be wearing out quicker than your left leg because you could be doing all the work on that right quad. Oh. And then when you find that trigger point and you just hold it for a few seconds, you want to go from, say if it's a 1 to 10 pain scale and it starts at 7, you want to drop it down to a 6, maybe a 5, 4, and you stay there till it starts to let go. Then you move to a different area. It won't get to 1, it won't get to 0, but you just want it to drop so it's responding to what you're doing. I am surprised how bad this leg is. I actually thought my left leg was going to be worse, but no, my right decides to be the worst one today. All right, now we're going to shift slightly to the side. So again, you're using your elbows. I'm going to shift away like this. So I'm more on the side of the quad, side of the thigh. This is the worst area. This is your vastus lateralis. You roll. Oh, jeez, I found a sore spot already. You roll all the way up to the top of your hip and you roll into a muscle called your TFL at the top of your hip. And that, basically, if you ever see anyone walking like a pigeon with the toes in or a duck, that's their TFL being too tight. And that causes a lot of lower back pain. Oh, so again, I can feel that right down to my knee. You press on the sore area, you hold just for a few seconds. You get it from an 8, 9, 10, bring it back down to a 7, 6, 5. Just let it drop 2 or 3 points. And then you slightly move above or below it. Because a trigger point doesn't stay in one spot. It's like putting your hand in the center of a bed sheet and you pull in, you grip that bed sheet and you start pulling and pulling. You'll gather more bed sheet in. So basically all your muscles are being pulled in towards this trigger point and they're getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Oh, you press and hold on the trigger point. You can do the myofascial release if you're brave enough. I'm not even going to bother because it's just too painful. Breathe and then move up and down if possible to a slightly different area when it goes down 2 or 3 points. Arms are probably going to feel this. Just ignore it. Oh, and then slowly come off that roller for a second. Give your shoulders a rest. We're going to do the adductors. It's tough on the arms, but it does get a little bit easier. And then we're going to do the groin on that leg as well. Okay, so parallel roller. And you just come down, back onto those elbows. Throw the inside of your knee on the roller. Now. And just relax into that position. So you start just inside that knee because you've got your long adductor. It goes from the knee all the way to that groin, into the pubic bone. And you're going to roll slowly all the way in. So walk on your elbows. Go right up into that groin. Ooh, this leg is fine, actually. And back out. Oh, actually close to the knee is kind of sore. I'm going to sit on the sore spot. Oh, I can't believe this. Actually, this point is sore. And just breathe. You could be lucky enough and not have a trigger point. Now, basically not having a trigger point doesn't mean you're perfect. It just means the legs are not congested. That's all. It could be next week you could do it and it could be back to square one or it could be terrible. Oh, and just sit on the trigger point and breathe in through the nose, out to the mouth. Feel it. Where does the pain go? Does it go up into the groin? Does it go down to the knees? Just try get a response out of the tissue. Try get it to drop 1, 2, 3 points. If it doesn't respond, it means it's been there for longer. It's been scar tissue for a lot longer than you know. If it takes, it can take anything from 2 minutes to like minutes, as in all the way up to like 20 minutes to release a really tight tissue. But if it's scar tissue, it probably is not that easy to release with a foam roller. That's a little bit more extensive, but you can definitely get circulation back into it. That's it. Find that sore spot. Push in. This is going to take the pressure off the lower back. Now, slowly release off that roller. Oh, my legs are dead. And then come back. Put the roller behind your butt, or under your butt, I should say. Nice and gentle. So sit up onto it for a second. So it takes the pressure off that lower back. Good. And just see here, this is just a nice hamstring stretch. With your butt higher than your heels, it's easier to stretch your hamstrings. So you're just balancing on that roller. Your legs are nice and straight. Now you can use say if you had your band, you can use your band wrap over your feet, but this is usually fine. Just slide the hands down towards the ankles and just sit there into that stretch. Just drop your head towards your knees and just accept that position. I want you to read all along your spine. Do you feel it in your hamstrings? Do you feel it in your hip? Do you feel it in your lower back area? Right now, I'm feeling this more into my lower back. Just breathe, inhale. Exhale, and just imagine your spine is softening towards your thighs. Inhale. And exhale. 2 more big breaths in. And exhale. And 1 more. Now sit nice and tall, still on that foam roller. Bend your legs up so your feet are flat on the floor. Now, this is a little bit awkward. See if you can get your right heel and chuck it on the top of the left knee. I'm just going to drop out my left leg a little bit. But you want to try, this is kind of unusual. You might have to put your hands on the floor. This is for the outer hip and bum area. You can just kind of, if you can't, no, you don't, yeah, that's it. Good woman, throw it up there. Now you're going to roll on the right bum cheek, okay? So you're going to twist over to the right a little bit and roll on that area. Yes, and just get a little massage. Now I do this with trigger point balls, with the spiky balls, but the foam roller is good if that's all you have. Just work on that area because the glutes get really tight and you affect the knee joint as well. So you're just massaging that point. Good. Try the other side. I'm going to use my hands on the floor for a bit of balance. Same thing, you're chucking the left heel if possible top of the knee. And if you can't get the heel on top of the knee, just twist the knees over to the side and massage the side of your glutes, just like that. Good. And you're twisting. Good. Perfect. So you're twisting over towards the couch now. So roll those knees over towards the couch. Yes. Get that outer hip and roll on the side of that hip and massage it. Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to copy you and just do it up and down 4 times. Roll on that hip. Just get the blood flowing back into that hip for 3. That's it. 2. And 1. Release.